What's going on, all you wild Blumhouse enthusiasts out there? It's your two favorite uncles back here for Cinephellas. I am Logan Myers. That's my good mate over there.
And I'm Brendan Sklener. What's going on, everybody
Oh,
out there?
Brendan.
We got, oh yeah. I'm fresh from the set of 1923 and this movie that we're reviewing tonight. It's a Blumhouse movie. Blumhouse, hit or miss for the most part. A lot of misses lately, but Christopher Landon is back with an all new film. You remember him, Happy Death Day. We really enjoyed those movies. I think he also directed Freaky as
Freaky.
well.
Yep.
Yes, which we enjoyed. So we like Christopher Landon a lot. And he is back with a new movie. You might recognize Megan Fahey from White Lotus. She is in this film along with Brendan Sklener, like I mentioned, 1923. That's really what I know him for. He was in the movie with Blake Lively that you saw with all the
It
controversy.
ends with us.
It ends with us. Yes. Didn't see that one, but I'll take your word. But yep, that handsome son of a bitch has been in a lot of stuff lately, and he shows up in this movie as a love interest here. It is a movie about basically getting AirDrop messages on your iPhone, and this movie is called Drop.
They chose me for a reason.
Shot to kill, never kill anybody, right?
So, how's this date going?
That's right.
Ding!
Blumhouse is trying to
Mhm.
think the most inventive and new premises in all their films, and this one is taking a look at AirDrop messages on iPhones. Essentially, the setup here is a widowed mother going on a date, first time in a very long time, upscale restaurant in Chicago, and she meets up with this guy she's been talking to, played by Brendan Sklener here. While going to this dinner, talking to everybody in this restaurant, I'll, start questioning the people there, but she starts getting these messages on her phone while she's trying to have this date and trying to connect with the guy. And, we find out some really dark stuff from her past, and it really
Yeah.
sets up the rest of the film.
Yeah, we find out that her character had an abusive ex-husband. She's recently widowed. She's been on a dating app and matched with Henry, who is we learn is a photographer. He's been working with the mayor in the city there, and they're going to meet at this really nice upscale restaurant. It reminds me a lot of the John Hancock building, eating up there on the 95th floor in Chicago. Um, like you mentioned, yeah, they're meeting, and it's basically takes place mostly in the high-rise restaurant, minus the first part of the film and the very end. So it takes place in this, and right away the tone is set. She starts getting these random airdrops, and each and every one gets more threatening, and she starts getting specific messages about Henry, who is Brendan Sklener's character, and you find out that he has some dirt on the mayor, and somebody is trying to get Violet, which is Megan Fahey's character, to make sure that she can get a hold of the camera and get the SD card and destroy the evidence. Because if the evidence gets out, it's obviously going to ruin careers and lives. And this person that's airdropping her is also um, hijacking or sending he sent some henchmen out to her house where her son is being watched by her sister at home, and she finds out that there's some henchmen there and they've got the kid, and if she doesn't follow the directions on these airdrop messages, that her kid could be in danger and possibly be killed.
Yeah, as you were saying, the restaurant, right? That
Mhm.
most of the film is at the restaurant. It's a completely unbelievable situation she's thrown into. Of course, finding out about Henry, he's got some dirt, as you said, about the mayor. A shady Chicago mayor. I can never believe that. Growing growing
Right.
up here, it's like how many movies in real life, we come across
Yeah.
this, but it's pretty believable in that aspect. Other parts of the restaurant, all just very convenient stuff going on here in this
Hmm.
kind of game. Of course, the person sending these messages has to be within the close proximity of where she's at. So she
Yep.
starts looking at each and person she talked to sitting at the restaurant trying to figure out who it was. And I will
Hmm.
say I kind of called it pretty early on who that person was. Not giving too much away, but I'm like, meh, something's off about that person. But yeah, it's pretty much the gist of the film. Get all these messages. You have to do this. You have to steal the SD card. You have to do this and that, and just completely unbelievable. But this movie did remind me of a old Chicago movie from the 80s, Adventures in Babysitting, where the kid's on the
Mm,
side of the
yep.
skyscraper in Chicago. So that's what it reminded me of. Not nearly as good as that movie, but it definitely reminded me of that. But I will say it's some
Right.
pretty good performances here. Megan Fahey, trauma and everything she dealt with her past relationship with the husband dying, finding out what happens with that. I thought she was pretty impressive in this role,
Hmm.
pretty impressive character and what she's going through and trying to do the right thing and save her son that's at home and sister. And there's a lot on the line, so she can't really make any mistakes, even though she does.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's she's very paranoid looking at each and every person. There's the piano player who locks eyes with her, of course, and kind of, makes some gestures and things that you raise your suspicions on him. It, of course, ultimately ends up being somebody totally different. And yes, like you mentioned, ultimately predictable. You can tell there's something up with that guy right away from the first time you see him and their interaction there. But, this was a pretty good performance here by Megan Fahey. She really carries the film. Her and Brendan Sklenar have some pretty good, conversations there where they're getting along, getting to know each other. Brendan Sklenar talks about what he does for a living and eventually sees that she's getting all these messages. It's funny because they're like having deep conversations and like every 2 minutes she's getting a new message. It's kind of like, everywhere today, you can't really go anywhere without your phone buzzing. Everybody's, you know, distracted all the time. And this date is pretty much one big distraction from the get-go. Well, anyways, he finally figures out that, things are going bad and without spoiling anything, he gets involved in the whole thing too. You can kind of guess where it goes here. So this movie really is about the performances. Not a lot of new things here. The whole premise of the airdrop was, decent enough, but like you mentioned, there's a lot of plot holes, and us being techies, we picked it apart from the get-go, just the inconsistencies and how things work and everything like that. But if you're not really nitpicky about that kind of stuff, there are some enjoyable moments here. Some good tension is built. There's some pretty cool scenes. The one, like you mentioned, where the window breaks and she's hanging out the window, had some pretty cool parts to the movie. Just overall, I didn't enjoy it too well. I thought it was just kind of standard. Not one of my favorite Blumhouse movies. Not one of the worst for sure, but just kind of middle of the road. Was hoping for more because it had gotten a lot of good word of mouth. And I understand, from the perspective of Megan's performance, but, not enough to make me really enjoy it. It was just passable for me.
Is it a movie you would rewatch again?
I don't think so. I think I've seen everything, the first time through.
I think most, most of the Blumhouse catalog is like a one and done. You watched it once, like, okay, I'm never watching that again, which is never really a good sign. They don't make, like the movies that are just like classics and stuff. But I will
Mhm.
give Drop that, was unique in some ways of doing the airdrop scenario and being in this kind of situation with her son and everything. And I thought that was unique, but just the rest of it just kind of plot holes and it kind of fell apart for me. Um, Throughout the second and third act. But I will say the last 10 minutes are probably the best part of the movie. Leading up to the very end was cool with the hockey puck and a window. I'll leave it at that.
Mhm.
But the rest is just kind of, same old kind of stuff. There's some pretty good performances here. I don't think Brandon Sklenar had a lot to do in this movie. He's just
Mhm.
kind of the guy that's on the date and her continuously just walking away from the table dealing with this other
Yeah.
psychopath. But he did the best he could, but just kind of middle of the road for me. Nothing really great or terrible, just okay. So it was a movie I'm
Yeah.
glad I watched at home. Glad I didn't see this at the movie theater for me personally. So that
Mhm.
being said, I'm gonna give Blumhouse's Drop. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Brendan Sklenar hairpieces.
I agree with you. Middle of the road movie for me. We've pretty much said all we can say about this movie without spoiling it. You can pretty much guess where it's going to go here and see how it ends up. You know, it's nothing more, nothing less. I'm going to give Drop. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 Christopher Landon hair pieces.
Christopher Landon, the son of Michael Landon, the late great actor.
That's
You know,
right.
and then his
Highway to
sister,
Heaven.
Highway to Heaven, great show, Little House on the Prairie. You know,
And
of course,
Teeter.
and Teeter, Christopher's sister from Yellowstone. Got a really talented family here. Christopher Landon, yeah, I'm interested to see more of his work. I think was he attached to the new Scream movie?
I think he backed out of that one, yeah, with the whole controversy.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Williamson stepped in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
oh well, excited to see Christopher Landon's future work. Maybe he'll dive into something outside of horror. It'd be nice to see something. Anyways, want to hear from all you guys out there. What'd you like about Drop? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite Blumhouse movie? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out these wild rascals on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews.
Ding! Hold on, Logan. I'm getting an AirDrop message. Oh, the deer chili's ready. I gotta go.
Grab me a bowl too, Bull.
I'll do that. Thanks for watching our review of Drop. And until the next Cinefellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Skleiner.
And I'm Uncle Logan Meyer signing out till the next movie review. Cheers! Hello!